Pas Ce Soir is a part of the Parisian collection. It's a crowd favorite BDK fragrance, and many say this is a compliment getter. It's so hyped up. So in 2023, the new extra version came out, and in this video, I'll make in-depth review of both fragrances, then I'll compare them, I'll rate them, and in the end, I will tell you which one is my favorite and which one is for who. So stay tuned and welcome back. My nickname is Miri, and here we talk in depth about perfumes. And therefore, before the in-depth review, I must mention why this is named Pas Ce Soir. On French, Pas Ce Soir means not tonight, and the inspirational story on the BDK website is quite interesting. It says that this is a fragrance of a woman who loves life and goes every Thursday to the cabaret in Paris. She drinks whiskey with ice and attracts the attention of men with her gaze. And when one of the men invites her to dance, she leans in and whispers to his ear, not tonight. And then she walks out of the bar. The name is really cool. It tells a story of the teasing and thrilling sensation of meeting the gaze of an attractive stranger in a bar that never leads to anything bigger. It simply stays at the stage of playful flirtation. Is this evocative name, Not Tonight, fitting for this perfume? And which of these two perfumes might seduce your senses? Let's start with Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum, and the opening is just fruity, it's sweet, it's juicy, and you can smell a bit of that spiciness. Also, I can smell quince in here because of my memories with my grandma. Older people back in the day in Croatia used to put quinces in the closets and on the shelves in different rooms, not just because of decorative purposes, but also because quinces are like natural air fresheners. They would bring this warm, sweet scent of autumn to your house. And Dunja, that's a term for quince in Croatian language. Dunja is a beautiful traditional Croatian woman's name. My grandma also made a marmalade, compote, or even alcoholic beverage out of quinces, and that alcoholic beverage is called rakia. It's very famous here. So quince is something I recognize and I can smell it in the opening, and here in Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum, quince to me smells like quince marmalade with a bit of spice because it's sweet, it's deliciously fruity, and with a bit of spicy character, but it never turns into a gourmand type of scent because you get some florals in the background. If you didn't had the chance to try out quince jam, then I guess since quince is something between apple and pear, the opening might smell to you like baked apples with spices and honey, or even like poached pears with some pineapple tropical vibe. So just be prepared that quince in the opening will give you an almost overripe fruity vibe with honey-like sweetness. It never smells juvenile to me like some other fruity fragrances. It's so elevated, it's sultry, it's grown up. And while the scent was initially very fruity, it shifts a bit more floral in the heart. So now you start smelling, like after 5-6 minutes, you start smelling jasmine and orange blossom, but quince harvest ripe fruitiness still mingles with floral accords and creates a very like cheerful, clean, sweet, slightly powdery, fruity floral scent. And as it dries down, woody notes and patchouli slowly emerge, bringing this fragrance a bit closer to the fruit-chuli territory, but never crossing over. So even if you don't like patchouli, you don't have to be worried about this fragrance that it will have an earthy patchouli base. Therefore, this smells like flowers blooming on a warm autumn day in in a window box while the scent of making quince chutney spreads in the air from opened windows. That mix of ripe fruitiness, delicate flowers, and woody amberiness is what you get in the dry down of Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum. I must agree with one of the comments on Fragrantica. That person said that Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum reminds her of perfume sprays inserted in fashion magazines or perfumed magazine sheets. It has that perfumey side, but the scent is very playful, it's sexy without even trying. There's nothing extremely new here, and therefore some might say, oh, not tonight to Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum, but for me it's so enjoyable. It's uncomplicated, cheerful, and uplifting fragrance that deserves 9 out of 10 for its scent profile. The only issue with Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum that I have is the performance. It lasts about 5 hours tops on my skin with medium projection and sillage, but I do have only a decant, so maybe a full bottle will perform a bit better. So I will rate it with 6 out of 10 for its performance, but the scent is very likable and it reminds me of a very well-dressed woman with a fresh blowout, smiling and charming those around her. If this review has been helpful and descriptive so far, let me know by booping the like button, hitting the notification bell and subscribing. But what about the scent of Pas Ce Soir EXTRAIT? First of all, I love the bottle. It's stunning, dark, emerald green color with a pretty heavy black cap. It looks so luxurious, and also dark green bottle kind of gives you the impression of the scent you'll get here because this is a patchouli heavy version of Pas Ce Soir. The opening of the EXTRAIT is focused more on the bright, crisp, but also syrupy pear. So in the opening you get that pear, but with a lot of black pepper and ginger. Cocoa here has like a mild chocolatey vibe. So the scent you get is like a dry cocoa chocolatiness on top of juicy pear with some pepper. Pear is definitely the most dominant note in the opening, and cocoa dust with pepper just adds a bit more character to the scent, but I must say that pepper here is a lot stronger than it is in the Eau de Parfum, and also you get a bit of like vaguely minty, earthy patchouli in the background of the opening I didn't notice in the Eau de Parfum. As it dries down, the scent becomes more syrupy, sweet, peach, pear, marmalade type of scent because fruits in the EXTRAIT version smell more stewed, poached, bubblegummy and vanillic, but that stewed fruity scent overlaps with some florals, spices, and a very noticeable patchouli. Patchouli in the EXTRAIT has a harsh, damp, dark, earthy vibe mixed with some light chocolatey cocoa. I don't get quince in here because pear is so dominant together with spicy florals and patchouli. So imagine you're holding a bouquet of patchouli leaves and jasmine flowers and then combine that scent with a scent of spiced poached pears. And this is what you get in Pas Ce Soir EXTRAIT. The scent is very syrupy, but that fruity sweetness is contrasted with spicier, darker, herbal, damp patchouli. So the EXTRAIT is the fruit-chouli type of perfume with floral accords in the mid. And in the base, EXTRAIT has some patchouli bitterness, but fruitiness still lingers even in the dry down, although it never loses its thick and syrupy texture. I've noticed that patchouli is much more recognizable on the paper strip and when I wear it on clothes than it is on my skin. On my skin, I still get patchouli, but this is the kind of patchouli that blends with my skin chemistry into like a deep, dark, ambery, woody scent, while on the paper strip, patchouli is darker, earthier, damper, incensey, smoky, almost like bonfire-like scent. I much prefer how Pas Ce Soir EXTRAIT smells on my skin than how it smells on the paper strip, and I guess that's also because of the ambroxan in the base. Ambroxan is great for fixing longevity issues in perfumes, but it really depends how it will manifest on your skin chemistry. And this is just basically a juicy, syrupy pear floral patchouli scent. Of course, there are a lot of nuances to it. For example, chocolatey cacao rounds the edges, cashmere adds some smoothness, and pepper gives it some spicy bite. But this is overall a fruity floral patchouli scent that isn't as youthful or cheerful as Eau de Parfum was. It's a deeper, it's more mysterious scent, and because it has prominent syrupy pear, many have commented that this perfume is very similar to the Jean Paul Gaultier's La Belle, while others said this is like a niche version of the Lancome's La Vie est Belle because you get syrupy florals, pear and patchouli combo. I can see where comparisons arise, but these perfumes aren't dupes, and I think Pas Ce Soir EXTRAIT is a much more elevated fragrance. It's less sweet than those designer fragrances, but with the same amount of sexiness. I would rate its scent profile with 8 out of 10, and they managed to improve the performance with Pas Ce Soir EXTRAIT, so I get between 6 to 8 hours of the wear on my skin, so you don't need to retouch it. The projection is, however, a bit softer. Therefore, for the performance, it gets 8 out of 10. Both Eau de Parfum and EXTRAIT share the same DNA, but EXTRAIT has added notes of pear, peach, cocoa, vanilla and benzoin. They're definitely similar, and they're both fruity florals with a deeper, darker, warmer base, so they're about 90% similar in my opinion. I will try to list all the little nuances I've noticed while wearing them side by side and comparing them. So the first main difference is that in the Eau de Parfum, you get a more prominent quince accord, while in the EXTRAIT, pear is much more noticeable. Also in the opening of the Eau de Parfum, you can smell some bits of florals in the background, while in the opening of the EXTRAIT, I don't get florals in the background, but I get like a minty, earthy patchouli vibe in the opening. Another noticeable difference is that in Eau de Parfum, you get like a tropical pineapple scent. You get a bit of that tropical vibe, while in the EXTRAIT, it's definitely spicier and with some chocolatey vibe of the cocoa. So this is more chocolatey, this is a bit more tropical. The Eau de Parfum is a much more floral scent. Florals come to life a lot more than in the EXTRAIT, while in the EXTRAIT you got a lot of fruits, a lot of pear, so this is a fruitier version. Also, another difference is that in the base of the Eau de Parfum, you get more of woody notes, while patchouli isn't that prominent. But in the EXTRAIT version, patchouli comes out in the mid and it stays during the entire wear. So yeah, patchouli here is a lot more prominent. Also, Eau de Parfum doesn't really change on my skin. Yes, it becomes a bit woodier in the base, but basically what you smell in the opening is what you get with this fragrance, so it is a linear scent. While EXTRAIT is a lot more complex, it changes in the dry down and turns woodier, darker, more patchouli, cocoa prominent scent. So Eau de Parfum is much silkier and smoother. It has a bit more of the feminine feel because of that like sparkling fruity vibe, while the EXTRAIT is deeper. It's a more carnal version of the original because you get some of that like dirty, earthy patchouli in the base, so it's more unisex compared to the Eau de Parfum. Although it's unisex, I would still say it's feminine leaning, but it's definitely more unisex than the Eau de Parfum. Also, the vibe you get from these two fragrances is pretty different. Eau de Parfum is grown up, it's feminine fragrance, it's alluring, but mostly this is a very youthful, playful, cheerful fragrance that just radiates positivity and this joyfulness. This is like a fruit nectar with some spices and florals. It's a bottle full of sunshine. While on the other hand, Extra is more mysterious, it's sexier, it has a bit of that seductress vibe. So simply it's darker, it's spicier, it's not as bright, cheerful, youthful and vibrant as the original was. And in terms of the performance, although I get 5 hours tops from the Eau de Parfum, it has better projection and sillage, at least it does on my skin. While the Extra definitely lasts longer, I can smell it up to 8 hours on my skin, so this one has better longevity. I like that in the Eau de Parfum you get some warmth and depth in the base, and I like that fruity floral aroma is never too much, it's never sickly sweet. And this perfume is spicy but not too spicy, it's fruity but not too fruity, it's woody but not too woody. So overall, this is a very easy reach fragrance. It gets compliments and it would be a safe blind buy because it's a very likable, and thus for some it might smell a bit generic and overrated, but honestly I can't think of any other perfume that smells like Pas Ce Soir Eau de Parfum, so it's not generic in my book. It does smell perfumey, but still it's a very inoffensive scent, and in my opinion it's not a nighttime fragrance but something you can wear every day despite the occasion, even in the office, and despite where you are, this scent will always feel appropriate. Yes, it's not maybe for like gala evening openings, but other than that, for casual everyday situations it will be perfect. It's more for spring and summer, it's very versatile, it's likable, it's a pretty scent with crowd pleasing quality that will get you compliments, and you would love it if you like fruity floral perfumes with some depth in the base. So overall I would give it, for its scent profile and performance, 7.5 out of 10. The Extra has 90% the same scent profile, but since quince isn't that prominent as it was in the original, and since it has a lot of patchouli that is known as quite polarizing note, this won't be for everyone, and therefore I wouldn't say this one is a safe blind buy, but it is still a compliment getter and it smells better in the air and on your skin than it does on the paper strip. It has that likability from the Eau de Parfum but with more depth and spiciness, so it would be appropriate for daytime and nighttime, and since it's a bit darker and more bitter, it will be better for fall and winter. If you're a man watching this video, then I would recommend getting Extra because it's more unisex fragrance, but if you're a woman and you want a fragrance that lasts and you like patchouli type of perfumes, then definitely check out Pas Ce Soir Extra. Overall it gets 8 out of 10 because it has a better performance. Scent-wise, I prefer the Eau de Parfum because of its cheerful, flirty vibe and because it's a lot creamier, it's more rounded, and it has noticeable quince and without that patchouli vibe. But if you consider the performance, if you consider sexiness, if you consider the unisex factor, then Extra is much better, and they do smell pretty similar in the air. So I don't think you need both in your collection. But if you love this scent profile and you want to wear Extra in colder weather and Eau de Parfum in spring and summer, then yes, I guess you do need both, but personally I don't. I blind both Extra because of the longevity, but I do prefer scent profile of the Eau de Parfum. And now it's time for you to share your thoughts on these two perfumes. Which one do you like more and why? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video if it was helpful to you. If you would like to see another comparison video and see what are the differences between Gris Chanel Eau de Parfum and Gris Chanel Extra, then check out this video next. I hope you will enjoy it and I will see you there. Bye!